Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Piofiore 1926, just continuing Henry's route where we left off in chapter 2, I think? Yeah. Anyway, on my second day of living at the Falzones, I was getting dressed when I heard someone knocking on the door. Good morning! Breakfast is ready, so feel free to come down anytime. Thank you, Leo. I'll be right there. I gave a quick glance at the mirror. I raised the corners of my mouth. Yes, good. I can still smile. You're like, what is with that fake smile? Buongiorno, Dante. Buongiorno. Were you able to sleep well? Yes, I also wanted to thank you. I heard from Orlok that you were worried about me. And he's like, trying to pretend he's not a fucking goddamn marshmallow. And then he slices people up, and we're like, God damn it, Dante could totally kill it. No, look at him. This man just bamboozles me on a daily basis. I'm just throwing it out there. We know this. It's clear from playing this route. Dante will absolutely kill us. I don't trust him. Oh, look at the cute little marshmallow. I'm just saying. Dante is why I die. He would totally stab me and I would be like, it's okay. I thought you might be bored alone. Having some guests here while Nicola and I are busy might help you pass the time. Orlok, Gilbert, even Sister Sophia. Then I'd like to see Sister Sophia if possible. We were in the middle of talking that night, but I ended up falling asleep. Understood. I'll contact her tonight. Grazie, Dante. Thinking about it now, I fell asleep. You haven't quite caught on that you were drugged? I wondered if it was just coincidence that I fell asleep so suddenly. Girl! Come on! I guess you don't want to believe that your boyfriend, freaking drugged you, but... Oh my god, is Henry with Gilbert? Yay! Surprised to see you pay a visit to the Visconti. Don't you know this is just an illicit workhouse where we produce counterfeit dollar bills? Oh, Gil. Yes, I don't expect you to forgive me no matter how much I apologize. But I am still sorry. Are you? I mean... Gilbert Redford, I need your help in order to solve this case. Forget it. What makes you think I'd even consider it? Think I'm some sort of sap? Yes? Dear Mafia, you may be merciless against enemies like me, but in the end, you'll fight for what's important. That's not something I ever would have attributed. They're Mafia, you may be criminals, but you're criminals for what matters. Excuse me? Okay. You will help me if it means protecting her. I came here today because I believe that. I don't want her to be involved. I want her to be safe. I think that's something on which we can both agree. Skill's like, damn it. So I see. Hit me where it hurts. You're saying that she'll be in danger if I don't cooperate? And that means I got no choice but to help you, you rat bastard. Much appreciated. Yeah. Anyways, let me take this opportunity to thank you. You've been protecting her all this time, right? And Henry's like, wait, what? I know, I read that a little too aggressively. And let me take this time to thank you. What? I know, I'm sorry, Gil. I read that more aggressive than it should have come out. But I feel like that also is part of what took Henry off guard. Is like, wait, what? I didn't expect your thanks. Well, that's one thing, and this is another. I'm not gonna tie up my opinion on her. Wait, of her and what? Oh my god. I'm not gonna tie up my opinion of her and what you did last time around. So, I tell she really trusts you. That means you've done your best to take care of her. But I will say it hurts that I'm no longer the most important man in her life. I love the fact that you thought you were the most important man in my life, Gil. Like, are you my dad? Gil is so being my dad. Dad, I need to come home and visit Grandpa Oliver. Oh my god. Hi. Just joking. Come on, don't be so serious. So anyway, tell me, Henry. Kill is absolutely that dad, though. It's like, I'll fucking kill you if you hurt her. I'm just kidding. But no, really. You know, for all the murder and the stabbing and the slicing up orphans, this game is pretty amusing sometimes. I wondered if it was just coincidence that I fell asleep so suddenly. I might find out if I asked Sister Sophia. Thinking about that made me even more eager to see her. That's true. Sorry. Oh, I forgot. Oh, your boyfriend was indirectly the one that drugged you, but technically Sister Sophia did it. On his orders, but still. Ooh, we're in chapter 3. Ooh. It had been a week since I arrived at the Falzone Manor. I delivered the letter to him, but sorry, I haven't received a reply. It's okay. Thank you for delivering it to him, Orlok. I suppose I knew from the beginning that I wouldn't hear back from him. But it's also possible that he hasn't read it. Even if that's true, it's all right. Can I ask you to deliver one more to him anyway? Yes, I will. Grazie, Orlok. Good, because I already have one. After receiving the newest letter from me, Orlok gave a respectful nod and left the room. If my words can reach Henry, where he is, that would be enough for me. Even if they're a nuisance to him, I wouldn't stop writing these letters. I may be acting stubborn, but I just want him to think of me. I love the fact that we are so desperate for this man to want us. Which is like literally me playing every Otome game. I need you to love me! And that's why I play Otome games, because I know you will. And then the game sometimes you're like, let me love that one! And they're like, no, you can't. But I want to! Oliver would not... I wouldn't have to work this hard with Oliver, is all I'm saying. I felt my heart wrench whenever I thought about him. This isn't good. I need to stay positive. Sister Sophia would be coming today. She would certainly notice if I was feeling the least bit unwell, since she was the one who raised me. I told myself not to behave in any way that would make her worry. Oh, okay, we're going straight into assassin. Assassin. Oh no. Oh no. I was waiting for Marco in an alley near the police station. Don't you get assassinated, Nicola! Our relationship with the police had worsened with the government's decision to get rid of the mafia. I made sure to keep my distance from Marco so that he wouldn't get in any trouble. For now, I'll ask him how things are going and tell him to keep his eyes peeled just in case, although there shouldn't be any issues. It's late. I had a bad feeling and decided to set off toward the station. Oh no! Not long after I began walking. Ugh! I heard a muffled voice and headed toward it, pulling out my gun at the same time. As I rounded the corner, I saw Marco being attacked by someone down another alley. He was too far to hit from this distance, but a warning shot should be enough to scare him off. And the suspect turned to look at me. In a dim alley, I saw who it was who held Marco at knife point. What? You're gonna just leave it like that? It was a man in a mask! You saw who it was. No, you saw a man in a mask, but still. I told myself not to behave in any way that would make her worry. But now we don't know. I'm assuming you saw the Phantom, but also, so you were like, I saw a man in a mask. Probably. Unless he's not wearing... I can't imagine that they would have him, like, dressed as the Phantom in the Alternativa route and then totally, like, unmasked here. You know what I mean? I just feel like his MO would basically be the same the whole entire time. Whichever route he's in, you know? You know, it's not like Yang is stabby in one route, but like really sweet. He doesn't have, you know what I mean? Like their personalities don't switch. Dante's not like, nah, I'm gonna forgo the hat. He's always wearing the hat. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like the Phantom would always still be like overdressed with a mask. You know, just like the way the Direttore was. You know, but we're also left wondering: did Marco actually get? I mean, I'm sure he got attacked, but is he dead? Is he gonna die? I kind of feel like that's a cruel way to kill him. Marco's dead. Wait, what? But no. That's so anticlimactic. It has to be dramatic like the children. You can't kill 3 orphans in a dramatic fashion to make us feel really, really sad about it and be like, that's not fair. And then kill Marco off screen. Oh, yeah, Marco's dead, by the way. And you're like, oh, okay. Wait, what? Like, you know what I mean? That has to have some impact. Killing him like that had no impact. Unless, you know, Nicola. And then he had a tragic demise that we saw. We have to witness it. You know what I mean? Anyway. Since it was such a nice day, Sister Sophia and I decided to have our chat in the courtyard.
I am sorry I couldn't come see you sooner. I know it was some time ago that you sent your letter.
Don't worry, Sister Sophia. It wasn't anything urgent. And this morning Dante said something that worried me. Sister Sophia's coming today. Leo just told me. I see. And the church has been busy lately, so I'm glad she was able to make some time for you. I was just wondering, has the church been busy lately?
Yes.
Sister Sophia appeared reticent, but didn't attempt to hide the truth from me.
You may recall this happening from time to time before you left town. Recently, some young women have gone missing again.
Do you mean kidnapped?
I cannot say for certain. At the moment, the police seem to believe that's not the case. The families of the young women have been heartbroken and visit the church every day. It's my duty to be there in their time of need, so I was unable to step away for some time.
I see. Thank you for making time to see me, Sister Sophia. She stopped talking and looked at me with quiet eyes, as though there was something to address.
Space.
What is it?
You called for me because you wanted to ask me something, didn't you?
Well, you're like my mom, so I do enjoy seeing you, but also, did you drug me? Yes. I wanted to know about the night when Henry and I visited the church. I fell asleep in the middle of our conversation. Did Henry say anything after that happened? She's like,
oh, thank God, I thought you were going to ask me if I drugged you. I mean, no, darling, dear. Oops.
Sister Sophia sighed and answered,
the tea you drank contained sleeping pills.
Did you put them in?
Yes. It was a request from his letter.
My mom and my boyfriend conspiring to drug me. That sounds really shady, and it really sounds like an am I the asshole post. Would I be the asshole if I disowned my mom and left my boyfriend for them drugging me? And because I mean, just feel like it's going all downhill from there. This is like the only way being drugged doesn't turn out bad. You know what I mean? Like, my mom and my boyfriend drugged me just so that they could get me to safety so I don't get stabbed. That's not how you expect that to end. When someone starts with, my mom and my boyfriend drugged me. You're like, oh shit. So I'm just saying. Wholesome. Which is just a weird for the Mafia game, but okay.
Space. Here.
She handed me 4 letters. These are the letters that Senor Lambert wrote to me after you 2 left town. Oh, this is Sophia. I was like, why? I thought it was me for a hot second. Anyway.
These are the letters that Senor Lambert wrote to me after you 2 left town.
I was speechless. As I was trying to calm down, I spoke the first thing on my mind. I didn't know Henry was sending letters to you, Sister Sophia.
The last letter I received from him was written the day you 2 departed for Boulogne. He requested my aid in implementing certain measures to ensure your safety. The reason I believed him can be found in the other letters he sent to me over the months.
Confessing his love, and we're like, he does love me! He wouldn't tell me, but he told my nun mom! I opened one letter with shaking hands. His beautiful penmanship decorated the page. I think it's funny, his beautiful voice, his beautiful face, his beautiful glasses, his beautiful penmanship. Girl, you were so into this man. Men usually do have so much nicer handwriting, though. literally anyone's penmanship is beautiful compared to mine, because, like, my handwriting is ass, so, but still. It was an account of our daily lives, written in his usual matter-of-fact style. That I was in good health, that I laughed a lot, that my French had greatly improved. He also wrote that the only reason the house was still standing was because of me. There was another letter about the day we went shopping for one of the children's birthdays. He calmly recounted the details, providing a glimpse into that fragment of a moment. The longer I read, the more I felt the tears stinging my eyes. He's like writing to your mom so she doesn't worry. Like, that's adorable. And every single letter expressed his apologies for taking me away. He wrote that he would bring me back soon if Sister Sophia would please accept me when the time came. Why is he always trying to get rid of me? He wrote that it wasn't my fault, that he was the one to blame for everything. I hurriedly dried my eyes before the tears fell.
In his letters I could see the feelings in his heart, and the way he looked at you and what it was that he saw. I realized that this man was watching over you with great love. And that's why I trusted him. I gave you the sleeping pills he sent out of necessity. However,
Sister Sophia kept her eyes down and continued after a short silence.
I understand that it was something that you would not want.
Oh, I understood that it was something you wouldn't want, sorry.
And that night when we all spoke together, I could see clearly just by looking at you how that you trusted this man with all of your heart. I saw the other side of his letters from the way that you looked at him. Spacey, you wish to be with him, don't you?
I mean, maybe. I did, more than anything. That desire only grew stronger from reading his letters. I kind of absolutely, like, you'd think, like, Henry and everything he did, but he is, like, literally just the softest, isn't he? For, you know, killing Sebastiano Gallier in order to get his vengeance on the Mafia and setting up Gil and doing all this horrible stuff, and then you come here and you're like, you're actually, like, legitimately the softest. Like, again, this game has a way of making they're all murderers. They have all murdered or tortured and done horrible things. And you just are like, they're just so sweet and lovely. I think it's actually kind of interesting because you tend to think of people that do horrible things. They're monsters. They're awful. But, like, you look at this, technically everything about these characters, they're monsters, they're awful. But they're actually decent human beings somewhere. So, like, even though somebody does something horrible, doesn't make them automatically a horrible person. You know? Like, sometimes people say horrible things and then later are like, yeah, that was a horrible thing to say. You know? And, like, you kind of have to accept that in the world, that people are going to say shit and then 5 years later are going to be like, oh, man, that was like slang terms and stuff like that, things that you used to say, or just if you were raised, like people who were raised a certain way to, like, whatever. And it's like, when you get out of that tight little circle that you're in and then you open up your eyes to broader things, you're like, oh man, that was wrong. So it doesn't make them a horrible person because they said stuff. At that time, in that moment, they were a horrible person. But you can grow and change. And even if you do horrible things, like murder people, you might actually be a somewhat decent person somewhere. Which is just weird. Because you think, like, you did a horrible thing, you're evil. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that Yang is anywhere good on the inside. He takes care of his toys, us being one of those toys, but it still doesn't make him a good person. But Henry murdered people for vengeance, and it's not saying that any of that is right. But, you look at that and you're like, Henry, you're a murderer, you're horrible. Look, actually, he's kind of sweet and nice. He just did horrible things in rage and anger, totally misguided. Okay. Still should go to jail for murder. I'm just saying. But, we tend to, silo people. You're horrible! But you might not have always been horrible. You might not always be horrible. Or you're horrible right now, but, Or this, you do horrible things, but you're... Like Dante, you slice up people and you have done horrible things, but, you're kind of a little squishy marshmallow. I don't This game is so confusing. This game hurts my brain. You're like, I love our mafia murder stabby Wait. Like, they're all, like, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I question myself sometimes, and I'm like, oh, wait, you've killed people. It's okay. It's not okay, but, like, it's fiction. It's okay. Oh, I did more than anything. Okay, we already read that, yeah. I felt that it was something I shouldn't say. We were separated for my own protection. That was what Henry wanted the most. Sister Sophia, thank you for sharing all of this with me. I smiled at her with gratitude. Space. Sister Sophia looked terribly sad. Is there something wrong with my smile? Pats me on the head. She knows we're sad. I love Leo's little sad. Look how sad he is. Look at his little sad face and his sad eyebrows. I love his eyebrows, though, when he's sad, because he has the normal eyebrow and then the slightly upturned one. Like, little cockeyed eyebrows. Are you okay? If you're not feeling well, please don't push yourself. Oh. Leo's voice brought me back to the present. We were sitting at the table for dinner, and I just realized I'd stopped moving my hands. I'm sorry, I must have been in a daze. I tried to answer as cheerfully as possible. Before dinner, I was reading a book that I borrowed from Dante. It was very interesting. I was just wondering to myself what might happen next. I took a bite of my dinner, which had gone cold. Neither one of them believes my bullshit. Leo's like, are you sure? And Dante's like, I locked my eyes onto the plate as I continued eating, suspecting that they might be exchanging silent glances. Hearing Dante's sigh. The arista is really delicious. The rosemary gives it such a fragrant flavor. Arista. A roasted pork loin dish with origins in Florence. I'm assuming that's how you say it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you like it. Now then, I think it's about time for some dolce. Leo smiled and left for the kitchen just as Nicola entered the room. Dante. Seeing Nicola's tense expression, Dante's face immediately turned serious. Is this where you tell us Marco's dead? What happened? Marco was attacked. What? He's already been taken to the hospital for treatment. It was nothing life-threatening. Well, thank God. This is how you tell... I was like, is this how you tell us? Again, like I said, he can't be dead because that's bullshit. We had the trauma of going through a bloody murder house for orphans. Marco deserves a little bit better than just, like, attacked off screen and dead. You know what I'm saying? But if I'd gotten there just a minute later, had I not intervened, he would be dead. So you were only passing by, Nicola? I actually had an appointment with Marco today. Henry told me to keep an eye on him because Marco might be in danger. Henry said that? Nicola nodded. Marco's known to be close to the Falzone, and he was the detective in charge of Chloe Lambert's case decades ago. Was those the only reasons? Was those? Girl! You know what? Stick to Italian, because you don't know English. Were those the only reasons? I thought Henry was worried over nothing. Until today. Marco was attacked just because of that. Anyone with even the slightest connection to Henry... All of us are in danger of being targeted. It may just be a coincidence. There isn't yet proof that it was Gellier who attacked Marco, is there? Correct. And there were 3 assailants, all of whom were wearing clown masks. I'm just saying, that sounds like the Phantom. And the guy with the teardrops on the cheeks, like... Piero? Yeah. The one you'd find in comedy troupes. Gellier may be planning to kill everyone who has a connection to Lambert, no matter how slight. That would literally be every fucking person in this town. Anyone who ever went to the casino. Anyone who thought of going to the casino. We're going with slight. Lambert himself may have suspected it from the start. Dante looked over at me as he spoke. And that's why, given your close relationship, I sent you here to be safe. If anyone close to Henry is being murdered, what more might happen to Henry himself? Well, he's certainly in the most danger, and merely killing him might not satisfy the murderer. Nicola. Nicola's like, if I were the murderer, I would probably... Goes through all the torture things, and you're like... I mean, the way he's tortured and murdered the people close to Henry, you have to know he's not just going to murder Henry. It's going to be gruesome. A horrific scene came to mind, the orphans. I clasped my shaking hands together to keep them steady. Oh, meeting number 3. Auto, okay. Detective was attacked today. His name is Marco Calderoni. It seems Nicola was present at the scene and saved his life, but Marco was badly injured. This is the first sign of activity after all the casino employees were killed. He must have seen that I returned to town. If that's true, then this is just the beginning. Lambert's return to town will bring about an even greater disturbance. So then, this is just the start? I believe so. Orlok, you may not trust me, but you still share valuable information nonetheless. And I'm grateful that you've delivered messages on my behalf as well. And that's why I will reveal to you a secret. Secret? And do you know of a priest named Emilio? I do. It's a priest unlike any of the others I met. Although I've worked as a disciple for years, it was only last year that I met Emilio. Emilio! He's not here, but we're talking about him, so. Emilio is aware of our whereabouts, and it was he who helped me find work. It's been helping you? I owe him a great debt. He kept a secret from both the church and the Burlone Mafia. Orlok, I understand that your direct superior is Bishop Joseph von Rosberg. May I ask if he's commented on the recent incidents occurring in Burlone? And that, because this is where the sacred relic lies, recent events have been undesirable. He does not want to see the situation worsen, and nor does he want the innocent to be harmed. I see. And thank you for telling me. Henry smiled as he spoke. I could sense that he respected His Excellency's opinion, which nearly swayed my impression of him. So, that's the end of my report. I also have another delivery for you. I gave him the letter from space. He was silent, not accepting the letter right away. He's trying so hard to, like, if she's away from me, she'll stop thinking of me, and we keep writing to him, and he's like, God damn it, you're making it harder. I will say it once more. If you don't want her letters, just let her know. I promised her I'd give this to you. I can't leave without doing so. Henry gave up and sighed, finally taking it from my hand. He wants the letters, but he doesn't want the letters. Because, you know, he thinks he's dirty and filthy and not good enough for us to touch, and also is worried about protecting us, so. Oh, now we're in. And this is only so I can assess the current situation at the Falzone Manor. Bullshit. After Orlok left, I found a suitable enough excuse to open it. The contents recounted her daily life, what she did during the day, what she enjoyed the most. She ended the letter as she usually did, by thanking me for taking the time to read it. In her first letter, she expressed how concerned she was about me. Her next letter seemed a little angry. She wanted an explanation, expressing dismay that I had left her behind. Now her recent letters were general updates, perhaps her way of telling me she was fine. I'm glad she's safe, and that there are no issues. Her letters had a comforting effect on me. I could almost hear a cheerful voice in them. Any negative news was noticeably absent. Very much like her to hide her concerns, she wouldn't write such things. I knew she was careful in the words she chose, holding herself back so as not to burden me. However, his letter said, I wish it were possible for us to be together. Would she feel more at ease if I answered her? Still,
I couldn't do that. I can't have her become too attached.
Too late!
I shouldn't forget why I distanced myself from Spacey. Even though this was entirely my decision, my heart still hurt when I thought of her. Am I the one who became too attached? My lips barely opened to let the words through. I looked down at my hands.
Henry, how about this? Is it all right?
I usually told her that it was up to her. All that mattered was what she wanted.
Well, what I want is you to man up and marry me already. Jesus Christ, get over it. Accept that I love you and just deal with it.
I couldn't say it at the time. I knew that once we reached the church, I would have to say goodbye to her forever.
Lies.
It was something I knew needed to be done, but that didn't stop me from feeling guilty. I want to hold her more than anything. How very foolish of me.
That's so sad. But it's kind of beautiful because you're like, he's over there pining and we're pining and like everybody knows we're in love with each other, but like, he's like, she can't be attached to me. Am I attached to her? Yes, you idiot. Everybody knows we're in love with each other except for us. I think we kind of realized that we might be in love with Henry, but we're trying to like not say it. And then the Henry's over here like hiding it, just shoving it in the back of his closet over here. I clasped my shaking hands together to keep them steady. Oh, he's going to accept our damn love at the end. Another morning arrived. The idea that Sebastiano was on the move again had kept me up all night. With as idle as I was here, I found myself more often visited by the thoughts that pained me. To keep myself busy. I got dressed earlier than usual, stuffing down my fears to the best of my ability. Good morning, Julia.
Oh, Space, what do you need?
I was wondering if I could help you with anything. I'd like to stay active if I can.
I wouldn't want to put our guest to work, and I can understand wanting to keep busy. How about helping me prepare breakfast?
Thank you, Julia. Is that cornetti you're baking?
Why, yes. Are you familiar with this type of oven?
Yes, it doesn't look much different from what we use at the church. There was plenty to be done, but with Julia's guidance, I managed to move through it quickly. While we were waiting for everything to finish, I turned to ask her a question. Say, Julia?
Yes?
You remember when you told me about the boy who used to live here? Ritten? I don't know how we pronounce it now. Anyway.
Yes, that's right.
Is there anything else you wouldn't mind sharing? Even trivial things are fine. I'm curious about what kind of boy he was. Why did they call him that instead of Henry? Know what I mean? Anyway, Julia put away the utensils she had washed and looked over at me.
It would be remarkably similar to what I've already told you.
Still, I wouldn't mind hearing it again.
All right, well, he was a quiet one, always somewhat reserved. But that's only natural for a child in his situation. He was surrounded by adults, all of them part of the mafia. It must have been quite frightening for him in those days. Even the language was new to him.
Oh, that's right. He was born in France.
Yes, but children pick things up so quickly. Soon he was speaking Italian on his own.
Did he learn from his older sister Chloe?
I wonder. Chloe was always with the former boss, Dante's father. He was very sweet on her, even allowing her inside his office.
How much older was Chloe than Henry? Because Henry was, what, 8 or 9, we were saying? When, like, Nicola was, like, baby, right? Because, like, he was very sweet on her. I mean, it's one thing to be like, oh, she was his favorite of the kids, right? But knowing about the relationship, kind of how it turned out, right? And, like, oh, then she was all jealous and, like, kind of in love with him. I mean, it could just very well have been she knew she was the key maiden, blah, 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 and was like, kind of infatuated with him and he was just taking care of her. Like, well, she's the key maiden and she's a kid and like paying a little special attention to her. Not in a creepy way, but you know what I mean? Over Henry. Like, whatever. He's fine. She's the special, right? And like maybe there wasn't a romance thing. It made it sound like, oh, like he was kind of flirty with her, like whatever. And then married Dante's mother. But now you're like, well, maybe it was never like that. It was very one-sided on her part. Because depending on when they moved in here and how old she was, I don't know, that's kind of weird. Like, oh, I watched you grow up, now I want to pork you? That's just some Woody Allen level shit, and that's kind of gross. Like, let's not, no, that's just weird. Like, it's not like, oh, you're young enough to be my child, where you met as adults, and that's weird. It's the, I watched you grow up, and now, like, hell yeah. Like, oh, no, that's just, there's something just weird about that. I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, and the fact that, like, she wouldn't have been that old when she tried to kill Dante's mom, so, like, you know what I mean? It's not like she was, like, 25. So, anyway.
Young Written? I don't know.
Go with Written? I don't know.
Was all by himself, more often than not, passing the time alone. Oh, it was such a challenge to get him to eat since he was so picky about food. I tried all sorts of ways to convince him, but I had to remember that they were from France. Our dishes here must be very different from what they were accustomed to before.
You're right. A cornetto and a croissant look similar, but they taste very different. They both sound delicious, though! I mean, like, I know what a croissant tastes like. I don't know if I've ever had a cornetto, but I'm just saying, that means it's some kind of, like, yummy bread thing. Bread things are delicious.
Yes, and that's likely why he had a particular aversion to them. A cornetto is much sweeter than a croissant.
That sounds even better! Written, or writing, whatever. Henry lost his family before coming here. His sister must have been his only support, and she wasn't around most of the time. But again, why in the world, Chloe, why did they change his name? Like, I don't know if they ever explained that. I couldn't imagine how lonely it must have been for him to be here all alone. It suddenly became all I could think about, unless he changed his name, maybe that's his middle name, or he changed it just because his OG name was too difficult to deal with, or was it a whole different life? You know, I don't know. I was in the middle of breakfast, a freshly baked cornetto with some cafe latte. I want whatever a cornetto is, because now it sounds delicious. Sweet breads. I'm just imagining some kind of, like, pastry with fucking powdered sugar. Powdered sugar is, like, amazing on things. You know what I mean? Like, I perked up at the sight of a familiar figure passing by the archway. Buongiorno, Orlok! When I called out to him, he walked back and came into the room to see me. He was trying to sneak. He was not trying to sneak. Orlok would be able to sneak. Were you able to meet with Henry yesterday?
Yes.
Did he say anything?
No, I haven't received a reply from him, but he did deliver your letter.
Thank you, Orlok. I hid my disappointment behind a smile and asked another question. How is he? Is he still in Strano? At this rate, we're going to sneak out of the damn house, go find him, and get ourselves kidnapped. Just throwing it out there.
Yes, but he'll be working around Arca today since Margot was attacked near the police station.
I see.
Oh, I should be going. I need to see Dante.
And I need to sneak out of the house. Oh, I'm sorry for keeping you.
It's okay. See ya.
I drank the rest of my cafe latte, which had already gone cold. I didn't have much of an appetite and found the idea of finishing my breakfast unappealing. But I didn't want anyone to worry about me, so I shoved the last of the cornetto into my mouth. I can help wash up the dishes, but what should I do after that? Meanwhile, story, please! Is this Gil? Because someone is showing up too. It's either Gil or Nicola. Anyway, oh, I see you've come too, Orlok. Oh, it's Sister Sophia. Oh, I did not expect that.
Oh, I see you've come too, Orlok.
Okay, I was not expecting that. At all.
Sister Sophia, are you here to see Dante? Yes. There was something I wanted to ask him about space. I'm here about her too. I suspected we were both thinking the same thing.
She's depressed about Henry, and if that motherfucker doesn't call her back, she's gonna do some serious drunk texting. Or, like, she unfortunately still has his, like, GPS on her phone, you know, from when they were dating, and is gonna be like, find my phone his ass, or some shit, and then go to wherever he is. Why won't you just answer my DMs? And, like, do some seriously... Okay, well, in the modern world, that's exactly what you'd be doing.
And the sister and I both nodded at each other. I knocked on the door to the office.
Come in. Oh, Orlok and Sister Sophia. I heard you were both coming today, but I didn't know you'd be here together.
Yes, well, we just met in the hallway. I have something to ask you, too. It's about space. She's been worrying a lot about Henry lately. I wanted to ask if she could see him for a minute.
Look at Orlok! Let her see her boyfriend, damn it. Mom, Dad, you can't lock me in this house forever. They're gonna let me go, but I freaking run away. Sneak out. Dante's like, damn it.
I shared information with her about Henry. I also delivered her letters to him. Dante and Nicola gave me permission to do so, meaning they were well aware of the situation.
Dante is like, I was really hoping she'd just forget about him. Everyone has been hoping I'd forget about him, including Henry, but not happening. But even if you asked him to come visit her, don't you think he'd refuse?
Well, yes. Signor Falzone, Signor Francesca.
Sister Sophia also turned to them and began to speak in a quiet voice.
I'm afraid I must ask the same. Won't you please help her if you can? Why don't you take her to the church, and we'll lure Henry to the church, and we'll arrange a meeting.
The church is neutral ground! You're not supposed to be doing killing on the church! Well, that doesn't stop the Phantom. You blew the damn thing up. I mean, in the other route, but still. Sister...
And that child will continue to put others' needs above her own. She's always been that way. I've raised her all these years as though she were my own daughter. And because of that, I know how much she hides her true feelings, even if it hurts her.
I know, I'm crying while I do the dishes right now. Julia thought I filled up the sink real fast, but it was with my tears. Even if they meet, it might not end well. Henry's express wish was to ever stay with the Falzone. Yeah. So we'll need to bring her as a surprise. If we tell in advance, he'll only run away.
And then...
I like how Nicola's like, alright, but let's lie to him, it'll be great. And Dante's like, Nicola, what the fuck? We were just talking about it as well. We've noticed that she's been forcing herself to appear cheerful. We want what's best for her. Look at that, Dante who's been in love with us since we were kids, basically. And is like, whatever, is like, nah, man, as long as you're happy. Look at that's adorable! Stop it! You're not supposed to be supportive. Especially in this route with Henry, and you're like, we hate him. We goddamn hate Henry, but like, if it makes her happy, we'll love him too. I mean, what the frick? What kind of well-adjusted, wholesome family is this? This is the Mafia. It's not supposed to be like this. This is why you just forget that they're stabby, murdery bastards and shit, and then you're like, when it happens, you're like, I should have expected this, and yet this wholesomeness is what ruins it. You just forget. First, let's confirm with her what she wants. If she says she wants to meet Henry, and then I'm out there, I do! I really do! I'm sorry, I was eavesdropping! And then Orlok, would you be willing to escort her to Strano?
Yes, of course.
Thank you. This is amazing. Yay! I love the fact that they all got together and were like, you need to let her see her man. I mean, Jesus. And they're like, I know. Sad sack. I can help wash up the dishes, but what should I do after that? I could write another letter to Henry. With little else to occupy my attention, I dwelled on the thought for a good long while. Instead, I curled up on the couch and cried. After washing up, I went out for some fresh air. I found a shady spot to sit down on a bench under the shade of a tree. Much warmer in Boulogne than it was in France. While I enjoyed the early summer breeze, couldn't stop thinking about him. I wonder if Henry's all right. He was the kindest person I knew, though I was sure he would deny it if I told him so. I mean, he has murdered people, and he was really a conniving bastard. But I mean, again, underneath that, really, really sweet, soft, squishy. It's like a cinnamon bun, which is weird because of this murdery evilness. Like, these characters are baffling. I love it. You're like, oh, they're so nice and wholesome and adorable, and oh, Dante just sliced that man up. Okay, yeah, that too. But they'll look at him, he's so cute. It's like a cat, though. Like, look, they're so cute. I mean, yeah, he bit me, or it clawed the fuck out of me, but it's still cute. You know what I mean? Like, my bird's adorable, and then he starts making those ugly shrieks, and it's like, now I hate him. I don't hate him, but like, he has been doing that all fucking day. He's jammed under my chin right now. But he has been making that ugly shriek all day where I'm like, I do not like you right now. I will always love you, but I hate that freaking noise so much. But like, and then you get so mad and you're like, God damn it, bird! And then you look at them and you're like, no, you're so cute. I love you so much. I'm petting him with my chin as I'm talking to him. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing with this. And then like, sometimes he's nasty and bitey and you're like, you bastard! And then 2 minutes later you're like, you're so cute. I love you. Animals, mafia men, same difference, you know. He was a kind soul who suffered a tragic life, that is true. In order to get revenge against Sebastiano for killing the children, he would think nothing of sacrificing himself. I didn't want that to happen. I wanted him to be safe. And to be fair, he was going after the mafia because they were responsible for killing his sister, even though his sister was kind of responsible. Anyway, we know that. So he wasn't just like, let me just murder orphans. You know what I mean? So, Space. Before I knew it, Orlok had appeared at my side. You know what? We're missing some Henry CGs. I'm just saying. We haven't had one yet in this part. Are you done for the day, Orlok? I looked up at him with a smile. Orlok stared at me a while as though he had something on his mind. Everyone all of a sudden is around us and we're like, what is happening? Is this an intervention? Do you want to see Henry? I felt the smile disappear from my face at his sudden question. Space, tell me how you feel. I felt myself trembling with confusion, wondering why he would ask me that. I know that everyone's just trying to protect me, and I know that I shouldn't think this way. But I want to see him more than anything. Orlok listened as the truth spilled out of me, then began to speak in a quiet voice. I mentioned before that Marco was attacked yesterday, and if the reason for that was because of his connection to Henry, it may be very dangerous for you to be involved with him from now on. Knowing that. Anticipating Orlok's question, I responded, I don't mind the danger. I don't mind the danger. It's scary, but, I mean, both of these are valid. I'm not really sure which one's right, because I don't mind the danger, and it's scary, but I need to see Henry. They're both very definitive and, like, I still want to see him, so I don't know which one's right, and I'm also wondering if another save point. It's not. And I don't mind the danger is the right one. Okay. To be honest, I don't mind the danger. It's not as though I chose to be with him because it was safe. I wanted him to live, and I still do. I want to protect him. Even though I know I don't have the strength to protect anyone. Hearing my thoughts formed into words, I couldn't help but smile bitterly. I'm sure Henry just thinks I'm a nuisance. I couldn't tell you how he feels, and that's why I think it's best if you ask him directly. Huh? I blinked several times. What do you mean by that? It's what you want. I can take you to see Henry. My breath caught in my throat in a panic. I want to see him. Please, Orlok, will you take me to him? Yes, I understand. Then let me go ask Dante. Don't worry, I already received his permission. I think Henry's still out at this time, but I believe he'll return before nightfall. But we can leave this afternoon, so please try to be ready by then. I'm ready now! Now, Orlok! Let's just go! Thank you, Orlok. I'd never imagined this could happen. It was like a dream come true, and then they see me prancing around the house, and they're like, Why are you... Oh, Orlok told you? Okay. I was sure that one look at Henry would be enough to put me at ease. There was nothing else I could have asked for. Aside for him loving me. I could ask for that. That afternoon, I arrived in Strano with Orlok at my side. I'm wondering how bad this is going to go. We navigated narrow alleyways until we reached a small house that was barely standing. It was then that I saw Henry. Oh, could you imagine how this feels? You're like, like I'm beaming right now. We get to see Henry! And he's probably very confused and like, we're happy, and he's like, oh shit. He was so stunned to see me that his lips parted slightly, but he said nothing. And all I want to do is throw myself into his arms. But he probably wouldn't catch me. So, that would hurt. Henry! Thank goodness! I rushed over to him, but noticed that his eyes were fixed on Orlok. He's like, what the hell are you doing? What is the meaning of this? He's angry. I asked if I could come here because I really wanted to see you. Henry gave an exasperated sigh. I love the fact that we are just so desperate to be around this man and talk to him and see him, and he is so, like, pushing us away that, like, look, we know what his feelings are for realsies, but she doesn't, and everything he does pushing him away, it's like, girl, this is desperate, weird behavior. This is how you don't actually behave. If a man's, like, not answering your messages and, like, pushing you away and avoiding you, you don't stalk him. Like, we're, like, throwing ourselves at him every chance we get, and, like, he's like, girl, I pawed you off on other people so you leave me alone, and we keep going after him. Like, don't do this. You know what I mean? We know how Henry really feels, so it's totally different, but it's still, like, I can't imagine. Like, I get almost slight secondhand embarrassment with she's like, Henry, I'm so happy to see you! And he's rolling his eyes and pushing us as far away as he can. Again, I know he's in love with me, but, like, there's still a little part of you that's like, oh, this is cringy. Like, like, I'm okay with it though, because I'm here with her. Like, yeah, I'm so excited to see him, even though I know he's pretending he doesn't love me, and it should hurt, and I should feel bad, but, like, I'm kind of glad she has no shame. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, I don't care, I love you. Henry gave an exasperated sigh. I knew he probably didn't want me to come here, but, well, true. Seeing his reaction made it feel like my heart was slowly being squeezed. Yeah, you know, because you wanted him to be happy, but he's sad.
You wanted to see if I was safe.
Yes?
You see, I am safe. And now that you've seen it for yourself, please return to the Falzone Manor.
My heart finally burst with sadness. Before, I thought it would be enough to see a glimpse of his face, but now I don't want to go back. Henry must not have expected my response. His eyes shook a little. It's so funny because he is so trying to shove us away, and most of the time you'd be like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go home and cry, and then eventually you'd be like, wait, you were always in love with me and you were just trying to protect me. But, like, she just doesn't stop, which I kind of appreciate. Like, it's a little, like, again, a little pathetic if the man's not actually into you and you're doing all this. But, like, we know that he's in love with us, so it totally makes it, like, acceptable. And it's still, like, I don't think I'd have the stones. I would just curl up in a ball and cry. And just wait. Just be like, and be, like, a sad sack puddle. And she's like, no, I'm gonna make you love me. Like, girl, don't be so dense. Actually, stay dense. It's great. She's not really that dense, actually. She's pretty good on this route. Like, I don't care. I'll make you love me. Fuck it. I don't want to leave you. I want to stay here. Space. Orlok is like, this is embarrassing. It's slight secondhand embarrassment, but you know Henry kind of wants us to stay, but... Orlok looked at me with a puzzled expression. Sorry, I planned to leave right after seeing you, but...
If you don't like the Falzone, then you can stay with the Visconti instead.
It's not that. Dante and Nicola have both been nice to me. It's just... I want to be here next to you, Henry. I don't want us to be apart. Oh, look at his little sad face. I know you're busy looking for Sebastiano.
And that's right. I won't be able to move freely if you're here. And don't get in my way.
It was painful to be confronted with the harsh truth that I had hoped wasn't the case. Please don't push me away like this. I'm just as involved as you are, aren't I? Sebastiano Gallier was the one who killed the children. I knew he was trying to keep me away, but I couldn't just be a bystander anymore. I don't know much about your past, and I've never met Sebastiano before. It's only natural that he would have a grudge against you for trying to kill him, but I can't accept that he's hurting you and taking away everyone you care about.
You're still too sweet to me, as usual.
Henry gave a weary sigh and spoke in an expressionless voice.
I spent my life in the pursuit of vengeance, so now the time has come for my punishment. And this is the price I should pay. I was given more peaceful, happy days than I deserved. And that's why the children died.
Then that means I'm responsible too. I was the one who wanted you to live that life. He closed his eyes with a look of pain, like he's trying so hard to be like, I deserve this! And you're like, then I do too. And he's like, no, you're fine. Then you're fine too. God damn it. You're trying to push me away, but you can't do it because I can't read. And now I'm also not going to listen.
Why are you...
I didn't stop speaking, even as I heard his pained murmur. I don't want the past to be buried away. Days I spent with you and the children were special to me. I cherish the life we had together. As I spoke, my eyes burned. Just tell him you love him. I realized that tears were spilling down my cheeks.
Orlok.
What? Orlok's like, I was hoping they wouldn't notice that I'm sitting here in the most awkward conversation ever. Henry wrote something down on a piece of paper. He then took out a few bills without counting and handed them to Orlok.
Would you please?
Orlok was obviously confused, but read the letter in silence.
I can do it. I will head out when she's feeling calmer.
Understood. Orlok nodded and left the house at once, after his footsteps faded away.
Spacey.
Henry quietly looked at me and spoke my name for the first time in ages.
The reason I left you with the Falzone was for your own safety. And as part of the terms in their allowing me to conduct my investigation in town. What you want puts me in a tough position.
Sorry, being so selfish. A few more tears slid down my cheeks from hearing again how troublesome I was. But so lonely. Henry, you told me that you wouldn't leave me. Am I holding you back? Is that why you're leaving me in Berlone?
And that's not the case. We're going there for your protection. I want to ensure your safety first.
I realized after he left me at the Falzones that it was only a lie to appease me. I didn't want to cry. It would only upset him. I like how she's thinking like, oh, I don't want him to worry about me or I don't want him to be sad. No, make him feel bad. Then he'll admit he loves you. She's so nice. But my body wouldn't listen, and before I could stop myself, I was shaking with sobs.
Easy.
He softly spoke my name as I cried. Oh my god, are we getting a CG? Oh my god, he's holding my hair. His hand gently brushed against my hair. And with the tenderness of handling a fragile object, he pulled me toward him. I looked up at him, confused. Oh my god, show me his sad, beautiful face. Did he just kiss us on the forehead? You know I love the forehead kisses. Oh! He looks so beautiful in this too. Look at him.
Forgive me.
My vision was blurred with tears, but I could feel him right in front of me. Ever so lightly, his lips swept my forehead. Oh my god! And also, it's so much sweeter and more romantic when it's Henry, because, like, everybody else is totally cool with, like, touching, and he is, like, holding your hand is difficult, and now he just forehead kissed us. I don't care if it was the lightest little butterfly kiss ever. He still did it. And that is a lot of progress for this man. and he held me with comforting hands. The shock of it stopped my tears. You're not mad at me?
I'm not.
My words were punctuated with hiccups, but his voice was quiet and steady.
I've never considered you a burden. I just didn't want you to get involved. You've never heeded my warnings. You've been that since the day we met. Your stubbornness has always given me trouble, but if that was something I couldn't stand, I'd have let you go a long time ago. It was my decision not to.
You forgive me?
We can be together, if that is your wish.
Stop it! Are you admitting you love me, you bastard? The tears that had stopped began to flow again. It's not fair, Henry.
Not fair.
You're so unpredictable. I never know what you're thinking, and if I ask, you just hide it from me. It's really not fair.
Are you feeling calmer now?
Yes. I'm fine. I don't know how fine we are. Is he all... Oh, okay, never mind. But I was like, is he also holding one of our hands, like, against us? Like, he's got one hand around the back of our head, and the other... It looked like the other one might have been, like, our hand and his hand kind of, like, held in between us. Like, you know, you could see it chest level. He gave a small nod, and almost at once I felt his warmth leave me. I knew he wouldn't tell me, but I needed to ask. Why did you kiss me?
Why do you think?
Gosh, you're mean. I wiped away my tears and glared at him. This was the second time he kissed me like this, and the last time was also very sudden. Oh good, we get an aria! Suddenly, the heroine's flustered when Henry gives her a sudden kiss on the cheek. She asks Henry why he did it. I don't remember this, so I'm glad we get to rewind this. And we're probably at time, but we'll do the aria and then because this part, so. Is this me? Because I'm going to start reading it because I'm not sure who it is. But anyway, once we were inside, I set down the basket and carefully began folding the clothes. Okay, no, so it's Henry.
Her voice was hesitant as she spoke to me.
Henry, about earlier...
Spacey gave a little nervous laugh that showed me how flustered she felt. Oh, he could have moved past it had she said nothing, but she was surprisingly persistent.
What was that for?
You've taken it upon yourself to do all the housework. You'll always do your best for us.
So that was a thank you kiss.
A thank you kiss.
Is that strange? Not sure now who's saying... Okay, some of this is confusing to me, though. Oh, I can't go back. Anyway, I'm not sure who's saying I thought the customs were similar between France and Italy, so I'm just going to leave that.
She didn't seem convinced by my answer.
Oh, now we get the CG flashback. He just leans over. He kissed us on the cheek because he wanted to. He was just so desperate. Just couldn't help myself. Stealing a kiss from my cheek.
I wonder myself why it was I did that. Custom or not, it wasn't in my character. The reason was rather simple. I wanted to kiss her. But I wanted to convey that it was merely the affection shown between family members. She doesn't need to know my true feelings, and they cannot be revealed to her. I touched her of my own accord without any reason, not even making excuses to myself. The significance of it wasn't lost on me. I knew it was unthinkable behavior on my part. I had feelings for her beyond what could be explained in this moment. I did something very wrong. I needed to be careful from now on.
He has been holding back for like a year. Just being like, I'm in love with you, but like, what? No, we fine. Oh my god. Most people can't pretend. It kind of comes obvious. Like, there is no way to like stone face hold those feelings back for that long. Like, I'm just saying. Holy hell.
I sat in the living room reading a book. Suddenly, she called to me.
Henry, dinner's ready, but Are you hungry?
Yes, thank you. The children were playing in their bedrooms, perhaps to avoid disturbing me. I thought Spacey would have called them to dinner, but she stood next to me without budging.
Spacey. Henry? So, where's my thank you kiss? My eyes widened in surprise. It seems I'm no match against you.
I couldn't help but smile. It wasn't a smile to ease her discomfort, but one that reflected the emotion in my heart. Perhaps sometime soon. As bold as she was, her cheeks reddened in a way that I found lovable. It reminded me of my sins and how I only continued to sin to this day. I must stop doing anything to mislead her. I looked down as I reprimanded myself. I am living through a momentary dream, a one that will end without question. But still, I wanted to continue dreaming, to be with her until my very last moment. I wanted to live these peaceful days together and support her in any way I can. Even if the end was near,
a year later.
But let me hold on to this sweet dream of her.
It is like the most romantic thing and it hurts so bad I'm gonna die. Anyway, this is the second time he kissed me like this, and the last time was also very sudden. In all the time we were together, Henry had only touched me a handful of times. I remembered each instance so vividly.
If you really need a clear reason for it, this was a kiss of apology.
Do you kiss everybody when you apologize? The question came up more bitterly than I intended. He gave a chuckle and narrowed his eyes at me. Could you kiss me on the lips to show me that you love me? Because that would help me.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
I felt a bit sour at the thought that he was just treating me like a child. But then he added,
You know it well enough already, but I do not like other people. Still, there are times that I find myself reaching for you. Especially now. I couldn't leave you crying like that, no matter what.
Me right here and where I was like, I don't really like other people, but sometimes there are people you're like, but I don't mind you. Generalization right there. My chest tightened again, but this time it was from happiness. Henry held his hand out to me.
We need to move. Well, let's go.
Although I didn't know where, I took his hand without asking. Oh no, now we have a meanwhile story? Okay, well, here we go. I'm sorry, this part's just long as shit, but we have to stop at a good place, so. The sky was still bright with the setting sun. I was walking through Arca with purpose. I feel like every time Gil goes anywhere, it's with purpose. I can't imagine Gil not walking with purpose.
I understand that you patrol Crete on a regular basis. Would you mind, for a time, taking our walks around Arca and the church?
You think Gallier will go after the church next?
You have no evidence to support it, but I suspect there's a possibility they'll be targeted soon. I trust you wouldn't want the church to come to harm.
Fine. I'll help you. Main streets of Arca looked as peaceful as usual. Something caught my eye. That's definitely... Suddenly broke into a run. Oh no. That's a bunch of fucking clowns. It was just the slightest touch, but it calmed my nerves and made me feel strangely at ease. Together, we left the abandoned house. And together, we're going to abandon this episode. We're going to stop here. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.